Hello and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Hezekiah Allen, Interim Recreation Center Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And today we've got Mr. Keith Okie with Keith Okie Rebel Soul. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Jack Teel, Parks Recreation Superintendent for the City of Cottonwood. Welcome.
Thank you.
Today we are talking Walkin' on Main. And what we like to say is we inspire a vibrant community for the City of Cottonwood. Walkin' on Main is an event that showcases local wine, music, and art, and it comes alive on Saturday, November 9th. Oh, and by the way, that's also the grand opening for the Cottonwood Community Clubhouse, or re-grand opening, right?
Yep, the re-grand opening of that building.
That event is from 10 to 11. It'll be at the clubhouse. It's your opportunity to see that facility after the investment, the time, the creativity has gone into bringing that place back to life. That's a facility that if you go down in Old Town, it's the big stone rock building. It's beautiful, it has a great story. So if you get a chance, come check out the grand opening on November 9th from 10 to 11. So today we're talking about Walkin' on Main. And if you go back 11 years ago, it was the brainchild of Terrence Pratt, Donna Chesler, and Ruth Al Nalinsky. And if you've been down to Old Town, there's the corner right across from Bing's Burger where there's an old building that's going to be hopefully something very soon. Well, that used to be our office, and we used to meet upstairs, Donna Chesler, Ruth Ellen, and a couple of folks to talk about what ifs. And what if we created an event that showcased the Verde Valley 89A and brought people here to see what we have to offer? And hence, Walkin' on Main was born. And what's really important to know is that it started as a way to celebrate 89A and everything Verde Valley. 89A, first established as an Indian trade route, was officially established as a road in 1927 at State Route 79, and later in 1940, with the war effort and that national campaign to create highways to be able to move things back and forth, it became a national highway. But before that, an Indian trade route. Can you imagine? Back in the day, going from southern Arizona to northern Arizona on a little mountain road, and that was the only way. That would have been a longer trip.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely.
But today, 89A goes through Old Town Cottonwood, which is known as the heart of Arizona's wine country. And why? Because you go through and there's wineries on each corner, there's amazing restaurants, there's been a reemergence of Old Town, and Walkin' on Main takes place in Old Town. With it being the heart of Arizona's wine country, the question's asked, well, why? Why is it the heart of Arizona's wine country? And not that many folks understand that years and years ago in the 1880s, Henry Sherman actually had vineyards in Oak Creek. And the way he obtained those vineyards is that he had loaned the landowner $800 to help with some improvements. It was about 160 acres in Oak Creek. He owned a hotel in Prescott, had came down from Canada and over from Europe. The guy defaulted on the loan, and he automatically jumped in and started farming during the 1800s, and he would provide the wine to the folks who were doing the lumber mills up in Flagstaff. Prior to that, little did he know that in 1583, Antonio did an expedition through the Verde Valley and found grapes were growing wild in this area.
Wow.
The original Henry Sherman vines and bases can be found. There's an individual who's found those, and they're massive. And it's an incredible story. The land here lends itself very well. The climate does. So we're excited. Walkin' on Main showcases a lot. Jack, can you explain to our viewers why Walkin' on Main is so important? What has changed over the years, and what's it going to be this year?
Yeah, so Walking on Main is one of our marquee events that the City of Cottonwood Parks and Recreation puts on, and for many reasons. Mm-hmm. From its beginnings, it was meant as a celebratory Main Street. It means to celebrate the local economy, our Main Street buildings down there, all the local vendors down there, our history, and then art, as well as music, and of course the growing wine industry.
Yeah.
And here we are today. We're celebrating the booming wine industry. Wine is the theme of all of City of Cottonwood. That is what our brand is. Mm-hmm. So this is another effort to push that brand forward, to get it out there and be the front runner in Arizona's wine system. Yep. We are the heart of Arizona wine country. We've got the Verde Valley Wine Trail here. We've got the Verde Valley Wine Consortium here. We've got countless wineries in the area. So we want to take those and we want to celebrate them, and this is a great event to do that. We also want to celebrate all of our different demographics here. This truly is a family event. That's why there's so many different things that go into this. If you're a car enthusiast, if you're a wine enthusiast, if you're an art enthusiast, or if you're a music enthusiast, we've got something for everybody at this event that showcases everything Cottonwood has to offer.
Yeah.
And man, is it great.
It is. It is. Keith, you were talking before we started with this episode that you moved down to this area. Did you know this was the heart of Arizona's wine country when you came?
I did sort of. My family's lived in the area before I moved here, and so I had some idea. My youngest brothers went to school with some kids that were involved with some of the families that have some of the wineries around here. So I had some idea about it.
Yeah.
Not until I actually moved to the area did I really sort of. Well, also I think simultaneously it really started to flourish around the time I showed up. But no, it was kind of a surprise to me coming from out of the area.
Yeah, to see how popular the wine is here, and what's truly amazing is there are regions like Sonoma and Napa, and the wines that are coming from Arizona are competing with these wines from areas that have been long established. And if I'm not a wine expert by any means, but from my understanding, the longer the vines are in the ground, the better the grape is going to be to a degree. So the fact that we're able to compete says a lot.
Yeah. And not just compete. A lot of the times, our wineries win. They get these special acknowledgments and all these different accreditations and awards, and it is fantastic. Arizona wine, I hear Pillsbury's got some really good dessert wines that have won some things before.
Nice.
And then Paula Woolsey can, of course, go on forever about this stuff. But she's told us countless times that we don't just compete, we go out and we win.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, it's no surprise when you taste them.
Yeah, exactly.
Tells it all.
True. So tell me some of the wineries. You kind of gave a little bit of a segue. I feel like when you threw Pillsbury out there, who are some of the wineries that are going to be here for this year's Walkin' on Main?
We've got 8 wineries lined up right now.
Okay.
We've got Merkin Vineyards that are coming out there. We've got Caduceus Cellars. We've got Burning Tree. Page Springs is going to be out there. Bodega Pierce. And we've got a lot of other ones coming out that are going to do it. There's going to be 8 in total that are going to be participating in our wine booth through the Verde Valley Wine Consortium. You can get those. The event is free. However, you will need to purchase tickets for that wine garden area.
Okay.
And you can get those right now pre-sale at azwom.com, ArizonaWalkingonMain.com.
Okay.
Get those pre-purchased, or you can get them at the door over there. But right now we've got 8 participating wineries in there. A lot of them are already on the street, but there's some that aren't participating that are on the street. So not only do we have the wine garden, but you've got the local vendors there too that you can go in. Carlson Creek that just came to Old Town is going to be participating. So we have a very fortunate business coalition down there that helps represent us in a booming wine industry down there that just loves it when we do these things. So lots of participation from all over the Verde Valley and Cottonwood specifically.
Jack, your team has done a great job with this program, and what's so exciting is that every year when the program ends at 5 o'clock, the people spill into the local establishments, and there's live music all the way down the street, and Jack's team is tearing stuff down and getting everything packed away, but the event in reality hasn't ended because it's just gone into the local establishments, and that's really a symbiotic relationship there, is whenever we can create that business atmosphere that brings people to the area to showcase what we have, and then the individuals stay here because they love it so much, and there's so much to offer down in Old Town. So you kind of went over the cost of the wine tasting. What's the dollar amount for tickets and things like that?
I want to say it's, don't hold me to it, but I believe it's $25 pre-sale.
Okay, that's a smoking deal.
Yeah, and then you get $5 off for veterans, and you can also do that at the door. Prices do go up day of, so make sure you get those pre-sale tickets in advance.
Keith, pop quiz before we go to a break.
Okay.
What's your favorite wine?
My favorite wine, I like it red, I like it dry. I like some of the ones that are offered around here that have a little bit of that peppery stuff, peppery flavor going on. I'd say some of the stuff down at Stronghold, and I'm blanking on the names, but I really enjoy some of the darker red wines that they have over there.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm your host, Hezekiah Allen with the Cottonwood Parks Recreation Department. We're talking Walkin' on Main. We also mentioned the grand opening for the clubhouse. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with our guests, Mr. Keith Okie and Jack Teel.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness. When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.org.
Welcome back, Cottonwood. This is Inside Cottonwood, and I'm your host, Hezekiah Allen, Interim Recreation Center Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Today we've got Mr. Jack Teel, Parks Recreation Superintendent for the city, and Keith Okie with Keith Okie Rebel Soul, who will be headlining Walkin on Main 2019 this year. And so we just got done talking about the wine tasting, why this area is so, why it's exploding when it comes to wine, the history. We touched on that to a degree, Walkin on Main, how it came about. But just circling back, just to remind you, ticket prices for wine tasting, Jack?
Yeah, so if you're a wine lover, great news for you. The Wine Garden pre-sale tickets are $20 in advance and $25 the day of if you show up there needing a ticket to get in. So.
And that's 8 wine tastings.
8 wine tastings, then you can purchase some more while you're there. All that can be done through azwom.com, the Arizona Walking on Main website. You can link straight to it, or you can always go to cottonwoodaz.gov and link through our Parks and Recreation page as well.
And so you can sit in there and taste wine, listen to the music. There's tables and chairs. It's a beautiful day. You can't miss the atmosphere. So let's talk music, Keith.
Let's do it.
So you're headlining this year. You've played the event a couple of years. What keeps you coming back?
Well, you know, it's cool. You guys touched on what this event means to me. You know, from the time that I would attend this event before I ever played it, to playing it the last 2 years and now this year. My favorite thing about it is that it really is representative of our community, and it brings together so many different aspects of our community all to celebrate in one place together, which I just think is a beautiful thing. Every time I've stood up on that stage and looked out over everything out there, what I see is my local community and the people that I see in the grocery store. And I love that it's inclusive of everybody. There's stuff for the kids. There's stuff for the adults. You know, anyone and everyone with any kind of interest is going to find something for themselves at Walkin on Main. And I have a family, and this is also an event where my 4-year-old son can come and hear live music and participate in a celebration. And even down to the high school kids out there making the art on out in the street there. I love that it just includes everybody, and that's my favorite thing about it, and that's why I keep coming back. And luckily you keep calling me to come back, which is great. But even if you didn't, I'd be there, because this is an event that I've enjoyed for many years now.
Yeah, it's one of those things that creates a great relationship, and I'm glad you touched on the high school art program. They've done it for years. I'm sure Jack's got it lined up for this year, and in years past, the theme has always been just do it about community and be creative, and what they've come up with is purely from their minds, and it's on the street for weeks afterwards, and it really makes us a community, and it brings us together. And seeing the folks in the grocery store and them saying hi and great set at Walkin on Main, a lot of times live music is a hard thing for young families to see and get exposed to. And for young people with their minds being so impressionable, live music is huge. It's culture, it's art, and for Jack's team to be able to provide this for the community is huge. So who's playing this year? Give us the rundown, Jack.
Yeah, we got a really good, solid lineup this year. So all the music kicks off at 11 o'clock, and we've got a 2-hour segment there. And the Mingus Union High School Rock Band is going to be out there with us partying. We had them there last year, and they did some things in between the sets, and the crowd loved them. They wanted more of them, so we did exactly that. We gave them more of them. So we've been working with the Mingus Union High School Rock Band, and they're going to be out there for our first set between 11 and 1. After that, we'll do another set from 1:30 to 3, and that's with our friends, the Naughty Bits.
Nice.
Yeah, they're well traveled as well. They're just getting done playing a couple of gigs in the area. So they're down here and they're going to come out and hang out with us for a little bit as well, play some music. And what's great is they have worked so closely with the Mingus Union High School Rock Band at a couple events that those two know how to feed off each other. They're good friends with Keith Okie and Rebel Soul.
Yeah, everybody's
so
friends
they'll be
in this
leading
group.
into
That's
them.
true.
Yeah. So all the way through from the beginning of the lineup to the end, you've got consistency there, and you know what people are doing and how they're doing it. So that segment, the 1:30 to 3, is going to be really good. And then, of course, we got Keith from 3:30 to 5 closing it out for us. So we've got a really strong lineup this year, and we're looking to have a lot of fun with it.
Sun will be just going down and setting.
It's going to be beautiful.
And the music's going to be playing. Wine tastings are going to be going well. That'll be glistening off the cars. People are dancing and having fun. You just can't beat it. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is free.
The event is free, absolutely. No tickets required. Finding a parking spot's about the only thing you're going to need to worry about.
Okay, but you do have a shuttle for that.
We do have shuttles. We've got shuttles running throughout the day with a pickup location at the top of the hill at the old Cottonwood Community School, or Cottonwood Elementary School. We'll have a shuttle stop right there. You can park up there, hop on the shuttle, bring it on down. We'll even take you back, drop you off right in front of City Hall at the footsteps of the gate.
Wow. So Keith, last year, the high school rock band was warming up, and they were playing Pink Floyd.
Yep, I remember.
And so we're walking up in the street, and I think Jack and I were walking next to each other, and we both probably had the same thought. Boy, wow, somebody is rocking Pink Floyd right now. We thought it was the radio, and it was actually the Mingus Union High School Rock Band. And Jason Teague is in your band, who's also a teacher at Mingus Union High School.
That's right.
Why do you think it's so special that these young people are introduced to this at such a young age, at high school, and to be able to play these live venues in front of the public?
Well, a lot of times young kids don't really get that opportunity. You know, I remember when I was that age, I was playing in bands, you know, and we had to fight tooth and nail to get an opportunity to get in front of an audience, you know, and so we would go play at parties and we would do, you know, things on the quad at lunch. But this is an experience on a professional level where you have quality sound and stage and an opportunity for these young people to really get out there and experience what being a musician is like. And that is a rare opportunity for a group of young people. And those guys, I will also add, are amazing. I've seen them a number of times now, and some of them used to be students of mine when they were much younger.
Right.
And it's so amazing for all of us to be able to see that progress happening with that program, which they're doing a fantastic job over. But just to get the opportunity to go out and do something that most young people do not get the opportunity to do, those kids are never going to forget that. And I think it's something that feeds all of our hearts in a beautiful way.
Yep, and the teacher that oversees that program, I got to talk to her a little bit at one of her past events, and her experience and what she brings to the table. She went to university for music, played in an orchestra. She's coming from a very deep bench herself of understanding of music and music content and how to perform and things like that. So, Keith, who has your sound and what you deliver? I feel like reggae is that next thing that's getting ready to blow up. My wife is always at reggae plugged into the radio station. Anywhere we go on Pandora, it's usually reggae, or any station that we listen to. It's just that smooth listening stuff that you can listen to all day and feel good. Who has influenced you?
Oh man, well, I think my biggest reggae influences would probably be Clinton Farron, who may or may not have heard of Clinton Farron. He was in a band called the Gladiators back in the 70s and 80s, and he is still making beautiful music, recording albums every year. He's currently touring Europe, and this is an artist who's actually reached out to us before. And
really,
to me, he really represents what reggae music is about, which is it's about community, it's about love. And him, Peter Tosh, from a musical standpoint, Peter Tosh is a pretty intense artist. But the sound that he makes with his band Word, Sound, and Power is a huge inspiration to me and how I want my band to sound. And we also draw a lot of influence from other styles. We call the music soul reggae rockers, and that's for a reason. We all kind of come from an original rock and roll background. But Otis Redding is a huge influence on me. There's a lot of artists out there, these days that are making soul music and making reggae music in a new way, and that in and of itself is really inspiring. But those are probably my top inspirations in terms of in terms of that. And I don't know if it comes out in the music as much, but the Grateful Dead has been a huge influence on me as a human, and one of the threads that runs through my entire life. Yeah.
You've toured in a van.
I toured in a 1963 GMC school bus.
Wow.
Yeah, 30-foot school bus with a V6 that would break down all the time, and we would go to Home Depot and fix it for $6 with nuts and bolts and baling wire.
You can't replace that kind of life experience.
It was an incredible time.
Top speed, 60 miles an hour. There better be good conversation. It's going to be a long trip.
60 miles an hour downhill.
Exactly.
Very scary.
All right, Keith, we're going to take a short break. Tell our audience why they need to catch your set this year. You were telling us you're going to have some special guests.
Yeah, we do. You know, we have a couple of, well, I was going to say surprises, but we'll let it be a surprise right now. We actually have a really excellent tenor saxophonist joining us. Ben Flood is his name. We have a big band going to come play this year, 6-piece. So, you know, not always an opportunity to see a large ensemble. And so, yeah, we're going to have drums, bass, guitar, saxophone, keyboards, and percussion. We'll have 3-part vocal harmonies. It's going to be big sound.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. Afterwards, we're going to talk hot rods with our guy Jack here, and we'll be right back with you. This is Inside Cottonwood.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.org.
Welcome back. This is Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Hezekiah Allen, Interim Recreation Center Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And again, we've got Keith Okie with Keith Okie and Rebel Soul, who's going to have a big surprise for us this year as the headlining act for Walkin on Main. Again, it's November 9th from 11 to 5, Old Town Cottonwood, and we've got Jack Teel, Parks Recreation Superintendent for the City of Cottonwood. His team orchestrates this program. It's a small team, and I'm always impressed with the work you guys do. So tell us a little bit about the car show.
Yeah, so it's a fantastic car show. It's meant to be a classic car show, but really we accept anybody who wants to be in it. Mm-hmm. And we do this working with the Mingus Union Hot Rod Club. So we work with Andy Hooten and the Hot Rod Club up there at Mingus Union High School. They help put together the program, get all the calls, and get all the vehicles to show up. So this year we're expecting about 70 cars. Wow. We've had registration open for a little over a month and a half, and it's pretty full, if not closed by this point already. But we tried to make that process simple. It's a register in advance, $20 registration fee, and you can do that through our Walking on Main website as well as azwom.com. So that's been open and going, and we've got some really good stuff coming. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who's bringing a 57 Ford, complete custom.
Oh,
everything's
wow.
done on it. I'm really excited for some of the things we have coming up this year. The Corvette car show comes up, or the Corvette Club always comes up. They'll be bringing in another 10 cars this year.
Right.
So it's going to be a really, really fun time.
Jeez. You know, we've been to Bear Jackson, we've done the car shows down in Phoenix, and I know I keep just talking this program up, but it's the truth that this is probably, and Jack, Keith, feel free to disagree with me, but I feel like this is the best car show in the Verde Valley, if not northern Arizona. Probably the only thing that really competes is the Route 66 show up in Flagstaff, because the amount of cars and the different types of cars, like you were saying, Jack, a full custom Ford pickup truck to a AMC Javelin that you don't even see those things anymore. And then one year that we were there was an early 2000s Grand, or the little sports car that came out from Pontiac.
Yeah, the little Oh man, it's spacing me now. I
I
had
know.
it for a second.
Soul, the Pontiac Soul or Solstice. There it is.
Solstice,
There it
yeah,
is. It would come to us eventually. But it was just, from the outside, it was a normal looking Pontiac Solstice. And then you get up close to it, and it was all Corvette chassis and running gear underneath of it. And if you haven't seen a Pontiac Solstice, these things aren't huge, right? And if you just tap that pedal, it would just do a 360 in the middle of the road.
The gentleman who put that together also builds airplanes.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of engineering, I'm sure, that went into getting that the way it was.
He doesn't like speed at all.
No, you can tell.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And so this car show, there's a price if you have a car and to register it, but where does that money go to?
So a lot of that money goes back directly to the high school to help fund their hot rod club and their different programs that they do, to be able to continue to do the things and the services that they do. So this is one of their major fundraisers with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, and so the high school has the auto club, used to be the hot rod club, now it's the auto club. Sonny Rodriguez years ago helped kick that off. Andy Hooten's doing a great job with the program.
Yeah.
They also have the welding program. There's a lot of shops here in town who hire those kids right out of high school, and they're the ones working on your car. So this program is wholeheartedly community, from reggae and what it means to play that music and talk to people through your music, Keith. And then Jack, by getting partnerships and pulling the community together, and then focusing on what makes Walkin on Main and what makes the Verde Valley so special. Really, when you come down to this event, it just speaks to people.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to be a part of this program. A little bit, so again, back to the clubhouse, we are having a grand opening. Jack, you're putting that together. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going to happen?
Yeah, so November 9th, we've got a lot of different things going on.
Yep.
We've got 3 different events that same day that all tie into one. So we have, the first thing in the morning is the clubhouse grand reopening of that building. So the past couple years, it's been highly noted that building has undergone some renovations.
Yeah.
And this is really the first chance for the public to come in and see what those renovations are and what that building has become. It's kept a lot of its historic charm. The outside looks almost identical to what it was before the process started. Recently, you and your team actually, and our public works team, has done a fantastic job redoing the landscaping out front, getting those things up, adding the new pavers, doing the painting, and those doors that just got done look amazing.
They do.
And all of that leads up to what that inside has become.
Yep.
The inside of that building is phenomenal. And this is the first time for the public to come out and see this building and all of its luster. We're really trying to target the weddings in the area, make this a local destination for people wanting to come and hold their weddings there, hold their meetings there, hold their conferences there, and trying to tap into that market. So November 9th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., we're going to be having that going on. We're going to have a couple guest speakers. We'll have one of our elected officials up there talking a little bit about it. We're going to have the architect there talking a little bit about it. We're going to have our economic development, Richard Faust, who used to be our general services manager and helped us get to where we are with that building today. So he's going to come up and say a couple words about it as well. So it's all going to talk about from what that building was meant to be to how it's gotten to where it's at now and what we're going to be using it for. And then it'll end with their ribbon cutting ceremony. At 10:45, right on the front steps of that, we'll be working with the chamber, cutting that ribbon, really christening that building to start moving forward on it and getting it out there for the public use. So that's their time to come in and see it, see all the new things we've done. And then we go into Walking on Main from 11 to 5 that day. We've talked a lot about that. But one of the cool things about that is we're partnering with our library to also hold their book fair and their author signings at that building from 12 to 5 that day. So a lot going on in Old Town. We're going to have 30 authors in there. Ryan Bigelow and his team from the library are working on some special things. One of the little teasers out there is there going to be some plays going on. We're going to have the authors on stage reading out their book while kids are on stage acting out what they're reading.
Oh, that's
so
great.
We've got a lot of really cool things coming on November 9th. It all starts 10 a.m. with the grand opening, the grand reopening of that Cottonwood Community Clubhouse.
Fantastic. A little bit about the clubhouse. It was built in 1938, and really what spearheaded off was a group of women through the Civic Club. And they had a vision during the Great Depression to build a community facility in Old Town. And they literally raised, the story goes, $15,000 through bake sales. Wow. During the Great Depression. Wow. Could you imagine? That's a lot of cupcakes. That's a lot of cupcakes. And they were able to get the WPA, Works Progress Administration, to help fund them. They got so savvy on how they worked the numbers that they could rent, WPA would give them a certain allotment for a dump truck a day, but they figured out they could buy a dump truck for $300 and then sell the dump truck after they got done building the building. A lot of the materials in there were leftover materials from some of the mines in this area, so they got really creative to build that facility. The architects, Lester and Mahoney, were the first 2 architectural stamps given in the state of Arizona. So we're going to be doing the grand opening, re-grand opening for the clubhouse. Walkin on Main's happening. The library's having a great authors program at the facility. Keith Okie's playing. It's going to be a great day. Come out and see us. Walkin on Main, November 11th, 11 to 5. Cottonwood, Arizona, Old Town, heart of Arizona's wine country, where we inspire a vibrant community. My name is Hezekiah Allen. I'm your host for Inside Cottonwood. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Keith. We'll see you next time.